If you're tired of blackouts or expensive local PPV prices, I'll show you how you can watch your favorite fights live without any restrictions. Different regions have different streaming rights and many platforms are locked behind location blocks. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to start streaming PPV fights from anywhere in the world this year. Whether you're traveling, living abroad, or just want a better option in general, you will never miss another fight again with what I'm about to show you. The way that pay-per-view events are streamed in 2025 has pretty much completely changed compared to just a few years ago. Cable obviously isn't the default anymore. Now, most UFC, boxing, and WWE fights are streamed completely on the internet. But the catch here is that the streaming rights are split across different services depending on where you live. In the United States, you have ESPN Plus for UFC, DAZN and Prime Video for boxing, and Peacock for WWE. Internationally, it's a mix of Netflix, Fight TV, BT Sport, and others. To make things even trickier, these services often block access based on your location. That's why today's video is all about showing you the best and most reliable ways to watch every big fight, no matter where you are in the world. Whether you want to stream legally using official options, or even understand how VPNs work around restrictions, we're going to cover everything you need to know step by step. So first things first, if you're in the United States, ESPN is still the go-to platform for UFC pay-per-view events, at least for now. ESPN has held exclusive UFC streaming rights since 2019, but that deal is set to expire at the end of 2025. There's a lot of talk that Netflix, Amazon, or even YouTube might jump in and end up grabbing the rights for that UFC deal, which could actually completely change how fans watch UFC starting in 2026. But at least for this year, when this video is being made, ESPN Plus remains your official source. Outside of the US, things work a little bit differently. In the UK and Ireland, BT Sport is where you'll find your UFC pay-per-views. In Australia, it's KO Sports, and then some other regions rely on DAZN, and almost everywhere else you can turn to UFC Fight Pass for prelims and archive fights. However, UFC Fight Pass often doesn't include the live main pay-per-view card unless you pay for it separately. And even then, availability can vary based on where you live. So the key takeaways here is that if you're inside the US, you definitely want to stick with ESPN Plus. If you're outside of the US, check your local sports broadcasters first, and if they don't have it, then explore UFC Fight Pass carefully based on your country's restrictions. Now, one of the big questions that everybody asks is about whether or not you can use a VPN to watch UFC fights. Technically, yes, but it's not guaranteed to work perfectly. ESPN Plus actively tries to block VPN traffic, meaning that if you try to use a VPN to make it look like you're in the United States, you might unfortunately still get blocked for this. Some people manage to get around this by using premium VPNs like NordVPN or ExpressVPN, but even then it's still kind of a toss-up on whether or not they will let your connection through. VPNs can get detected and ultimately blacklisted at any time. Even if you get past the security block, there's also another catch. You usually need a US-based form of payment to actually buy the pay-per-view event in the first place. Without a US credit card, PayPal account, or gift card, you may not be able to complete your purchase. The bottom line here is that VPNs might help you unlock this site, but they unfortunately don't guarantee that you'll be able to pay and watch. If you go this route, you can use a trusted VPN like NordVPN or ExpressVPN to be prepared to troubleshoot if things don't work out perfectly. Which, speaking of which, if you want to get started with either of those platforms, make sure to use the links down in the description. When you click the link for NordVPN, you should see a page that looks something like this. As you can see, they have a 30-day money-back guarantee, plus you'll get 4 extra free months on top of whatever plan you end up choosing. You simply hit the Get the Deal button, which will take you to their price plan page, which will lead you to pick whichever of these price plans works for you. You'll pick the pricing plan, hit the Buy Now button, and then at checkout, if you don't already have the coupon code applied, make sure to enter in this coupon code, TheVPNNerds, to get an even greater discount. The same thing goes for ExpressVPN. If you want to get started with it, make sure you use that link down in the description. Should take you to a page that looks something like this one. You'll simply hit the Get ExpressVPN button, which will take you to their pricing plan page where you'll pick which deal you want to go with, go to your checkout, and then once again, enter in the coupon code VPN Nerds for an even greater discount. Now, if you're trying to watch boxing, this can be a little trickier because the broadcast rights are split across a lot of different platforms. DAZN is going to be the biggest player here globally, but it doesn't always show every fight depending on where you live. Sometimes you'll find fights on ESPN Plus, sometimes on Prime Video, and sometimes even on traditional pay-per-view through cable or satellite. If you live somewhere that doesn't have access to DAZN or Prime Video for a particular fight, a VPN could help you here. You can connect to a server in a country where the fight is available and then access it like a local user would. And again, ExpressVPN and NordVPN are going to be your best bets for this because they specialize in bypassing streaming blocks. Keep in mind here, just like with UFC, you may need a payment method from the country that you're connecting to. Some fans get around this by using international gift cards or even setting up new accounts specifically for these services. WWE's streaming setup in 2025 is a little bit more straightforward compared to UFC and boxing. If you're in the United States, all WWE premium live events like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Royal Rumble are exclusively on Peacock. Outside of the US, WWE content has mostly moved over to Netflix. That means that most international fans can watch WWE events directly through Netflix without needing any extra subscriptions. However, there are still some countries where local networks like Sony Sports Network in India or SuperSport in parts of Africa hold WWE rights. If you're in one of these regions, you'd rather watch this through Netflix, using a VPN like ExpressVPN or NordVPN can help you connect to a country where Netflix streams WWE live. Just remember that Netflix has cracked down a bit harder on VPNs, especially for live content. Make sure you're using a VPN that's optimized for Netflix, and so that way you have a Netflix plan that allows live event viewing. Ad-supported plans usually don't have that. If the fight one isn't available where you live, a VPN can really help you bypass restrictions by making it look like you're streaming from a country where the event is actually available. Services like NordVPN and ExpressVPN are two of the best choices because they offer fast streaming speeds and of course a wide selection of global servers. To stream a pay-per-view fight using a VPN, you simply open your VPN app, connect to a server in a country where the event is being broadcast, such as the US or ESPN, then visit the official platform's website or application to purchase the stream and then see the fight. Some events may also require a local payment like we talked about before, so it's important to check in advance for this. While VPNs are powerful tools for accessing geo-blocked content, it's important to note that platforms like ESPN, DAZN, Netflix, and Peacock actively try to detect and block VPN connections. That's why using a reliable VPN with strong unblocking capabilities is critical if you want the smoothest streaming experience. Now, even if you have a great VPN, there are a few important limitations that you need to know about. The first is that not every VPN can consistently beat streaming blocks. These platforms are constantly updating their systems to detect and block VPNs, so you might need to try a few different servers or platforms before you find one that works. NordVPN and ExpressVPN are what I've had the most success with. There's also going to be other VPN platforms linked down in the description that you can try and tell us if they work for your situation. And then of course there's also the idea that you might have to have a local bank account or a local payment method in order to purchase some of these fights if you're watching them from a certain region in the world, which of course a VPN alone can't solve for. Another factor to really watch for is speed. VPNs encrypt your internet traffic and that can slow down your connection. If your VPN is much too slow, you'll deal with buffering and of course lag. And nobody wants that during a live fight, especially if you're watching it in a big group. That's why it's critical to use a very fast VPN with optimized servers for streaming, specifically like the ones we talked about in this video that'll be linked down in the description. And then of course, very finally, there are potential for account risks. If a platform detects that you're using a VPN against their terms of service, they can suspend or terminate your account. While this doesn't really happen often, it's still a possibility that you need to be aware of. If you want a guaranteed hassle-free experience, the smartest move here is to use official international streaming options instead of risking VPN detection or payment problems that you could subscribe directly to platforms legally offer the fight in your country. But that's pretty much everything you need to know about getting access to pay-per-view fights by using something like a VPN or these other types of VPN services. If you guys have questions about this process or about the platforms that we talked about in this video, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I can't wait to see you guys in any of our future videos. Thank you so much for watching.